I'd like to ask you two questions. The first question is, what is your definition of love?
Okay. My definition of love. That's a great question. Wow, that's a really great question. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'll give you a minute.
All
I'll
right.
give you a few minutes to think
No,
about
no, no, no.
it. Okay.
Your show is hard. Okay. All right. Okay. So my definition of love would be nurturing, right?
Okay.
It would be nurturing because I find that, you can nurture yourself. I believe in that. I believe in nurturing yourself to make yourself better for someone else, right? But I think nurturing also is like watering plants. You know what I mean? You got to nurture them, feeding animals, you got to nurture them, by feeding them, and being dedicated to that. Um, Nurturing would be my definition of love because you can do it in a lot of places. Like I said, not only just with, raising food, raising children, raising, anything really, and making yourself better. I think if you nurture yourself, you're showing love to yourself. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us your name and what you do. Like what you do. Are you retired? Like, what do you do? Tell us your name and what you do.
I'm Nana. That's all you need to know.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
Nana, welcome
Yeah,
to.
just call me Nana.
Okay, Nana,
You
welcome to the
know,
show.
or sometimes my son-in-law calls me Mama K.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But for the
Okay.
most part, yeah.
Okay. Well, Mama K, you know what I mean? Welcome to the show. And we're glad to have you today. So what do you do? Are you retired or like, what do you do?
So I am retired, and what I do is I do a variety of things. Uh, the profession that I retired is retail, aerospace, hospitality, and bartending entertainment.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So okay, we can get into some of that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Um, let's go back to aerospace. Like, what did you
Okay.
do in that field?
So in that field, I worked for two companies. My
Okay.
major company that actually started me out in aerospace was Pratt Whitney Aircraft in Connecticut. And I worked there. And then I worked from ooh, 72, no, actually 70, yeah, 72 to 76.
Okay.
Yeah, in aerospace. And I was trained in inspection and code, coding and fluorescent penetrant for blades and vanes department.
Wow.
So
Like like
the blades that you see on the engine of the airplanes,
okay.
after they come out of manufacturing, they have to go to inspection to be inspected for cracks and for coating.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did that at Pratt Whitney Aircraft. But when I relocated from Connecticut to Georgia, my goal was to get hired at Lockheed. And so, Lockheed, they build planes and stuff like that. but they wouldn't hire me at that time. They was going through some not accepting women in those 70s.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I can understand that. You went through a lot of that during that time.
Yeah, they
Right.
expect, especially as a black woman at that.
Right.
So I went ahead, I stayed in aerospace and I went to a private company who inspected the blades and vanes that came off the aircraft for rework from the different airlines. And that was McLean International.
Okay.
Yeah, so I worked for them, and I worked for them for a couple of years. And then I took my secretarial schools because I went to Opportunity Industrial Center in Connecticut to learn executive secretarial schools. And then I left McLean International after I had I say I was there about 3 years, about 3 years.
Okay. So if you look back at your careers of jobs you've done, which one would you say you like the most?
Let's see. Hmm. I like my General Motors job the most.
Okay. So what'd
Mhm.
you do with General Motors?
I worked on the line. I worked as a production. I worked on production, on a line production.
Okay.
Mm,
So,
in that
okay.
department. Then I did several things in General Motors, line production. Everything is basically line production. If I worked on the chassis line, or if I worked putting on the brakes, on the chassis line, or if I worked in inspection, uh,
Okay.
so
So you guys are making cars,
building cars.
right? So you're building cars and you're on that production line. So like, where were you? Like, were you at the windows? Were you at the motors? Like,
I
what part of the car on
pardon
the
that
line?
I put on the brakes. I was at that time there was two brakes that you had to put. I was on the chassis department. I
Okay.
moved around to different areas.
Right.
Yeah,
So this is before like the robots showed up, because now they have the robots building
right.
cars.
Future of car manufacturing. In this video, we get a fascinating welcome to the future of car manufacturing. In this video, we get a fascinating look at how AI-powered robots are revolutionizing car production in China. These highly advanced robotic arms handle every step of the process with incredible precision, from assembling the foundation of the car to installing the windshields, roof, windows, seats, and even the tires. This level of automation not only speeds up production, but also enhances the quality and safety of modern cars. It's truly amazing to see how technology is shaping the future of the automotive industry. Do you think AI-powered factories like this are the future of car manufacturing worldwide?
That was
Right.
before the robots put us out of work.
Right. Because I know General Motors went through a big layoff of a lot
Yeah,
of people,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Was this in Detroit, or like where were you doing General Motors work?
So I hired in the Doraville plant.
And that's in Georgia, or
That's
where
in
is that?
Georgia,
Okay.
Atlanta. Doraville, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a
And
General
also
Motors.
we had a plant that was very active in Lakewood, which is in considered Atlanta.
Okay. Okay. So they had a couple of plants down there in Georgia.
Right, right. In the early 80s.
And what was the reason for them laying people off at that time?
The reduction of force was basically because of the robots.
Oh,
They
they
bought
told you the robots were coming.
the robots were coming. Yeah. It changed they changed the cars to what they called a I think that it was a W4 engine where we built a smaller version of the Cutlass.
Right.
Because I think we were building the Pontiac, we were building the Cutlass and another W4 chassis. So the size of the car was changed.
Okay. So then what they were doing, like at that time, it was, okay, we have this force of people, all these different plants all over the place. And they were looking at, what's the easiest way for them right, to make these cars. And what that means is that the humans would be displaced, right? So they would lay you guys off and then start another, automatic. I don't know what it was called back then. I don't know if they were saying robots. I mean, you would have to tell me, you know, but I don't know if they would say, okay, we're going into like an automation, making of some of these different materials, or if they were already doing that overseas, you know what I'm saying? And they were bringing that into America. I don't know what like I said, I don't know what they were saying to you guys. I don't know. I don't know. Were they saying actually robots or were they saying automation? What were they saying to you
Yeah,
guys?
they were basically saying automation. They were trying to reduce force because they had one robot can do 600 of us got out of there with one robot, you know,
Wow.
you know, and they had robots that were spot welding faster without less injury than than us humans,
Right.
because you could really get burnt in doing some stuff. Like
Right.
in one time I had to work in putting on the windshield, so it take two people. It was a suction thingy that you had to put on there and lift it up and put the windshield in place and then glue it, and had to glue it. Well, it took two people, but you had to get it right. Well, if it messed up, that means you got a defect, on the end. Well, the robots would just snatch it, put it in, and go to the next job,
Yeah.
next
Right.
car.
Right. Wow. Like I remember when I was young, I worked at a furniture plant. I don't even know if it's a plant. Listen to me, all right?
Right,
But it was like a warehouse,
right.
and a friend of mine had the job, right? And he was like, "Hey, look, you put together the furniture, and I'm left-handed, right? So they used to always call me flicked it. You flicked it with that left hand, right? So I had to put chairs. I had to put chairs together. So it was like, you put the legs and stuff on, but you had to put nails and stuff in at that time, you know, in the warehouse, right? So I was doing this and I was doing a terrible job at it. So the manager, hey, step outside. Let me talk to you, because we can still see the nail, like the way I was hitting the wood. He's like, we can still we can still see the nails. So, I didn't do a good job there, as you can, as you can imagine. But the point is, all of that is important because you're mass producing a lot of this stuff. And like you said, if I'm making those mistakes, they're losing money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Um, so I understand what you're saying. Like every mistake or, anything, it costs so much money to repair that, that they saw it as, okay, well, if you guys are doing something or if someone gets hurt, the company is really, held liable for all of these different things,
that's right.
and their budget is affected, etc. So they saw that as, okay, well, if we can bring in this machinery to do the work of the people, right? Um, it's a better thing for them, but it's a terrible thing for the humans. And I think that we're faced with that today.
Yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
true.
of plants where it's all robots, like
Yes, yeah,
very minimal on the humans.
right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's very important to know that you are replaceable, you know. And even back in the early 80s, well, I wouldn't say the early 80s, I say, let's see, when I left up out of there. Oh, say the 90s, the later 80s, closer to the 90s. Those robots was, you know, they were very effective. They saved time and they put people out of work. So you
Right.
really had to have other skills. And which me, I've always been blessed to have other skills, you know. So that wasn't the only thing that I was able to do. So to it is important that you extend your education in whatever you're gonna do. You can't just put all your apples in one basket. You have to be able to do other things because you can be replaced. Look what's happening now, you know.
Yeah, it's happening
You could
now.
be replaced, so.
Yeah, it's definitely happening now, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So it was early. It was in the 80s. Look at we're 26, and and a lot of the car plants, they're fully operational with the robots. If you're gonna have a skill and be able to know a lot, then you need to be a millwright or something that's going to make sure that you can learn how to fix the line, or engineer or electrician to help help maintain the robots because they can't fix themselves.
Yeah,
Nowadays, they probably can, you
right.
know, because they're more digital, like that. But
Yeah, well, like when I was in
back then, they
college,
wasn't.
I was looking at computer programming because I was thinking, well,
Yeah,
the computers are the future,
yeah,
and me being in the entertainment business, it was okay. I need a backup plan,
yeah,
you know. So that's what I was studying, preparing for the future,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And the field that I'm in now is computer programming. I started doing like LED screens, and you program them with the computer,
Yeah,
so you basically build these big blocks and put together, an LED screen. And this was before LED, like now LED's popular, right? No one knew what LED was,
right.
when I started doing that. But it was controlled by computers, and
Yeah,
that's how you program it and tell it what it is, and that it's a square or it's a circle or, whatever formation that you're putting together.
yeah, yeah. It's the art, you know. You A lot of things that you do, if you don't know, mostly everything is an art. And even if you cook, it's an
Yeah.
art, you know.
No, absolutely.
I mean, you can be a housekeeper in a hotel, work for housekeeping, and it's an art, believe it or not, how you put those sheets on the bed and the blankets and all that. It's an art, just
No, I
about with
totally
everything
believe
that
that.
you do. And if you're going to be good at what you do and make some good money, you need to master whatever art it is. Whether you're working in the hospital, taking care of patients, or cleaning rooms.
Okay. So, what I want you to do is explain a dish that you like to cook. Tell us how you cook one of your favorite dishes.
Oh, Jesus. One of my favorite dishes would probably be just basic spaghetti, but there's a way that I make my sauce.
Okay. Tell us
You
about
know, yeah. I mean, the pasta is, your basic spaghetti, not thin, just regular pasta. But how you make your sauce, the ingredients of your sauce, right? So if you're doing it from scratch, you're going to use your tomato sauce and your tomato
So
paste,
follow me for
and
more.
then uh, and how you put it in the pan. So you put your olive oil in first, and then you put in your paste, because you got to get the paste worked in before you put the sauce in, because you got
Okay.
two things, right? So there's a certain amount to one 4-ounce can of tomato paste. You need to have equal parts water in that one can. So we're just going to say we're going to do 1 can of tomato. That makes that tomato paste into a tomato sauce. Now, if you're going to add more sauce or more paste, everything's going to be equal parts. And then you put in your garlic, your fresh garlic, chopped garlic, your chopped onions, and your chopped bell peppers already into the sauce. I don't fry them ahead of time because it takes away the texture of the vegetable, because it has to simmer. The flavor of the vegetable, the peppers, the onions, and the garlic will simmer into the sauce. Be, so you don't want to saute it,
Okay.
because you have that crunchy feeling in it. It'll simmer
Right.
itself in. Yeah. So it's into the sauce, and then you put your spices, your oregano, your basil, and your spices into that, however you want to make it. Top it off, with and you're tasting as you go because you want to get it kind of not tart, a little sweet. So I put a couple of spoons of sugar in it, right? But you're doing this on a very low flame because if you don't, it will burn. Sauce will burn, and then you'll have a smoky flavor to your sauce, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And then you're gonna let it simmer, put a top on it and let it simmer. After it simmers and it's not too thick or however your texture you want it, you're gonna top it off with Parmesan.
Okay.
Yeah, just a layer of Parmesan on the top. So Parmesan is a cheese. It's gonna smooth down. It's gonna fall down into the sauce. Cook it slow, right? Some people add tomatoes and not just regular tomatoes, like better bought tomato. I prefer that if I'm making spaghetti, I'm going to use a Romano tomato, right? Because it has a more authentic Italian flavor than a better boy tomato, right? A big boy tomato.
Right.
Just let it simmer. The key to that spaghetti sauce is for it to cook slow and cook long. So if I'm going to have spaghetti and I know the kids are coming over for spaghetti, I'm cooking the sauce the day before. And I'll put it in the slow cooker, like the crock pot, and put a top on it and don't even open it. Because once you let the air in it, you lose a lot of the flavor.
Okay.
And just let it cook all night. Slow and long.
Okay.
Every spice will taste so good into the sauce that when you do put it over the spaghetti or over the pasta, whichever one you're using, you could use panini or you could use your shell or you could use your spaghetti, you know, um, you, you could taste the flavor of the sauce all the way through the spaghetti
Hmm.
or, I mean, the pasta. That's my
Wow.
favorite dish,
That sounds really good.
Mhm.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
You
my
know,
grandma dish is different. My grandma dish for the kids is the fried potatoes and onions and garlic. Yeah,
wow.
those are the two favorites.
Yeah. So you're saying that sometimes you add garlic, but not always.
I'm sorry?
Sometimes you add garlic, but not always. That's not always what you do.
In the sauce,
Hmm.
always.
Oh, you always add the
A
sauce. Okay.
sauce does not taste good without garlic. You got to have the garlic. You might as well not even make a sauce if you're not gonna put the garlic in there.
Yeah, I guess what I thought you said was like you make it and then you say the grandma sauce. So I thought that was a different sauce.
Oh no,
Yeah, yeah,
grandma
okay,
sauce.
okay.
No,
That sounds really good. You
yeah.
know,
I won a
yeah.
contest with that sauce.
Oh wow.
Just like that. I made it just like that. I won a contest with it. We had a spaghetti contest on my job at Lowe's, and so it was three of us,
Okay.
that made spaghetti. Yeah, and
So
uh, and I
okay.
won the gift card for $25.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
Even if they had just given you one of those ribbons and it said you're the winner, like first prize. I mean, that's like the fact that you won is great.
yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that was I knew I had a badass sauce. That's why I went ahead and
Yeah,
entered into the contest.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Like when you do competitions like that, do you have an opportunity to taste the other people's sauce as well, so you can judge for yourself as
No,
opposed
the
to other
judges,
people?
the judges picked that.
So you didn't get a chance to taste their
No,
sauce.
I did not. Well, afterwards, after the
Okay.
judges declared the winner, I
Okay.
did taste them other two sauces. One of them tastes just like she just opened a jar and just dumped the sauce out, heated it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't put any love into it. So I don't care what you make. If you don't put love into the whatever you're making,
Right.
and it's not going to taste good anyway.
Yeah. Like for me, I like to cook and have music playing. And I feel like the music is part of one of the ingredients. because it helps my mood, in making the food, right?
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah,
if my
definitely.
mood is up, I feel like
Yeah.
all that energy is going into the food.
Yeah, definitely. But all that love is going into the food. You might call it music, but it's love
Right.
connected. You know what I mean? Because I have tasted your food. Ooh, mwah, you know, I couldn't do nothing but I couldn't do nothing but when chefs, real chefs, because I worked in the hotels behind the scene,
Right.
behind they call it in back of the house, right? And when chef is cooking something, and before you bring that food out to the line, right?
Mhm.
You see him go, you know, it's ready to go, and
Yeah.
everyone will enjoy it. Yeah,
How do you feel about these robot cars that are out here now?
they scare me.
Okay.
You know, I'm paranoid right now. You know, because I actually at home, I think it was about a month ago, one of those robot cars, what peopleless cars, people, what do they call it? Driverless
I don't
car
call them. I call them.
ran and yeah, it
I'm like,
ran
look at the robot driving up the street.
a driverless car
Okay.
ran the stop sign. It ran past the school bus. The school bus had the signs out,
Okay. The stop signs,
right?
right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the driverless car didn't pick it up and went past the school bus. Thank God no children was crossing at that time. Yeah.
Wow.
I
That's
don't
crazy.
I don't care for them. And they need to take them off the street. They're a safety hazard.
Yeah.
And
I
it
think at
glitch.
least for now, they have, for now, I think they have humans as the backup, right? Because they'll show some cars around, especially when they're training these things. They have all the GPS and all of that, but they'll have like a human in the car as well, right? And then eventually you won't see the human in the car. You just see the car off by itself. But I think they do have like a database center somewhere where the human can take control, and, intervene.
Well, I just seen one the day before yesterday, and a tow truck was picking up a driverless car. It had broke down right here
Okay.
on Sepulveda. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy. They should have had a robot pick it up. A robot picks up a robot
Could you imagine
in a
a
tow truck.
driverless robot picking up a broke down robotic car?
Yeah, that's what I would want to see. I want to see the robot come pick up another robot and go fix it somewhere. You know, it is a little weird. I know like in LA, they're trying to make us a robot city to where we have a lot of things, that's robotic, and I know that, it's something that they're really pushing for across the country, really, because it's several cities they've decided, okay, these are going to be our robot cities. And I think Atlanta is one of them.
Yeah, I heard Atlanta is supposed to be getting actually have a fleet of driverless cars that
Yeah,
they
the
were
cars.
testing downtown, downtown Atlanta.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
they have the robot dogs, like there's all type of stuff. There's food carts that drive around delivering food, and we
I
have a
seen
store.
that yesterday.
Hmm.
I see. Is it the little green thing that's over here on what's it, Ventura, and it has a flag on it?
Yeah, it has a flag on it. It's like a
It's
little
a
box.
delivery
Yeah, it's like a
vehicle.
delivery. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah,
a
yeah.
Grub Hub.
They're all around. It's like a
Oh
grub
my.
hub. It's like delivers, everything for you. Okay, so this is the part of the show where you take over the show. Okay, so what we do is we have the guest take over the show. So what you're gonna do is think about a name for your podcast. Okay. And then you're going to ask 2 questions. So I'm going to give you a second to think about, if you had a podcast, what would you call it? Right. Okay. So I'm going to give you a second to think about it. Right. You're going to think about it. Okay. What will my name of my podcast
Write
be?
it down.
Right. And then you're going to ask me 2 questions. Okay.
Mm-hmm. This is the takeover of the Mama K Nana slash Happy Show.
Okay. All right. So now you ask 2 questions.
I'd like to ask you 2 questions. The first question is, what is your definition of love?
Okay. My definition of love. That's a great question. Wow, that's a really great question. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
I'll give
Okay.
you a minute.
All
I'll
right.
give you a few minutes to think
No,
about
no, no, no.
it. Okay.
Your show is hard. Okay. All right. Okay. So my definition of love would be nurturing, right?
Okay.
It would be nurturing because I find that, you can nurture yourself. I believe in that. I believe in nurturing yourself to make yourself better for someone else, right? But I think nurturing also is like watering plants. You know what I mean? You got to nurture them, feeding animals, you got to nurture them, by feeding them, and being dedicated to that. Nurturing would be my definition of love because you can do it in a lot of places. Like I said, not only just with, raising food, raising children, raising, anything really, and making yourself better. I think if you nurture yourself, you're showing love to yourself.
No, that's a good answer. That is a real good answer. And the fact that you used it, because everything you have to nurture. Even you go to the doctor, you really have to be nurtured, you know. So that's a very good answer. Um, I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's a good. You can relate nurture with a lot of things, spiritual, physical,
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good answer. Mhm. Very good answer. So let me
Okay.
think about answering the question number 2.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. How would you define uh fear?
However, find fear. Mm. Yeah, you have great questions. You should join my show. Help me with my questions. Okay. How would I define fear? Okay. I think fear is a conditioning, right? I think fear is a conditioning. It's like you're conditioned to be fearful of something. It's almost like if you burn yourself, now you're afraid of that thing that burned you, right? So even if that's in a relationship, even that's, anything that's traumatic, right? It produces fear. Um, for me, personally, they used to fight dogs in my neighborhood when I was a kid. So watching those dogs, it was so violent. It was so awful that I was afraid of that, just watching it. Right. So what that did was it made me fearful, right, of animals, that are, barking or trying to attack, whether it's another, animal or whatever it is, just it makes me fearful, but that only comes because of my childhood experience.
So your experience,
Right.
that one experience.
Exactly.
Mm.
So I think if I hadn't experienced that, I wouldn't be as fearful of, animals, what I mean, especially dogs. It's specific to dogs. you see. Uh, as I aged, I wasn't as fearful, you see, because I started to learn that, oh, this is safe. And my mom had dogs, but her dogs weren't like that. You know what I'm saying? But it was the dogs when they're barking, it produces a certain fear in me, but that's only from experience. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's it. You know what I mean? Like I said, if you burn yourself on an iron, you're not going to do it again.
So you would basically, you would say that fear is a part of just being scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's learned. It's a learned
So it's an
behavior.
emotion.
Yeah,
Fear
because
is an
there's a lot of
emotion
stuff
of
you're
being
not
scared.
afraid of. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's a lot of
Hmm.
stuff you're not afraid of. And if you look at a kid, right, initially, they see like a bug flying and they're so surprised by it, but they're not really scared. They're just trying to avoid it because they've never seen it before. But once that bug, let's say if it's a bee or something, stings you, now you're fearful of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I would say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It,
So I
it's
thought
a
it was good.
it's a broad. It's actually a broad subject to define.
Yeah.
Because because fear could be broad in a whole lot of different
Yeah, it could be
different
a plethora
ways.
of
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
great. That was great.